call this March 21st, 2023 regular board meeting of the County Supervisors to order. First thing on our agenda is departmental reports. I trust you all had a chance to look at those. You have any questions, anybody? Next thing on the agenda is public expression. Is there anyone want to approach the board with public expression?
I would.
Speak your name and address, and you have 3 minutes.
My name is Jerry Cox, and I'm here to talk about the personal property tax. And I've got my tax ticket here, and if I could, I'd like to pass it around for the board members to look at, if that's okay. I guess there's no problem in that. Got 2 previous years there. Okay, the reason I'm here is about my truck tax, my personal property tax for 2015 Dodge Ram. If you notice on my ticket, my personal property tax on that truck went up almost $90, and my tax relief went down from the previous year, 2021 to 2022. And other counties made adjustments on their personal property tax to see that didn't happen. And I know this year you've already collected my $90 and other people's, and you've got a surplus. And what gets me is the fact that my tax relief didn't go down, or excuse me, I didn't get more tax relief. It went down $4. I don't know what you all are going to do about the personal property tax. I've made some suggestions to you, and I've talked to Mr. Jesse there about it. And I know some of this might be new to you all, what other counties did. And I mentioned a lot about Chesterfield and Henrico County. I know those are the larger counties, but Packard County, Stewart, Virginia, they have a population of 17,000 people, and they reduced their assessment. They assessed their cars on 90%. And they also reduced their vehicle tax. They didn't have any fees. And Wise County has already finalized their personal property tax, and they got a 12% reduction with their JD value from January, and they prorated their assessment to 92%. So that made up that difference. So I'm hoping we can do that this year, if you guys are obliged to that. Any comment on my tax that I paid? Any comment? I paid more tax and I got less relief. And when I talked to Mr. Jones, in 2021 I got 55%, and this year it went down to 45%. So I got hit 2 ways there. And we're a poor county. We got almost 30% poverty. And I'm done, Mr. Mosley. Thank you. And my mother also told me, she said, if I didn't, this bothered me so bad, my 93-year-old mother said she paid with its tax this year, so it will get paid.
Anybody else here with public expression? If not, we'll move on to the next item on the agenda, which is approval of minutes. February 20th, 2023 regular meeting and March 3rd, 2023 call meeting.
Make a motion to approve.
I have a motion. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next is payroll. The county administrator reports that payroll warrants have been issued. And the next thing is approval of disbursements.
Motion to pay the bill.
Have a motion to pay the bills, do I hear a second?
Second.
A motion and a second, any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries. Next thing is delegations. Ms. Gibbs.
Ronnie, can I hand those out, Angie, can I have them? Has everybody got a copy of the thing? Hand that out. Thank you so much. Thank you, Carter.
If you would speak your name and tell us who you represent.
So my name is Hannah Gibbs. I'll wait till y'all have those and talk about those that I'm here with. So my name is Hannah Gibbs. I'm with Appalachian Sustainable Development. We currently work in this area and across Southwest Virginia and East Tennessee to support agriculture and farming and all sorts of aspects of environmental conservation and protection for our farmers and our folks down here in Southwest Virginia especially. You all might know us from our work at the Appalachian Harvest Food and Herb Hub in Scott County currently, where we work in Duffield, where we aggregate produce from farmers and we help distribute it at wholesale retail so that folks can retain their family farms. We have farmers here in Lee County, so we are active in Lee County and have worked on that. And part of that extension is the program that I work with, which is called Groundwork. So Groundwork is our workforce development program, which is a 6-month paid program where we provide paid, on-the-job work opportunities for folks, as well as a really robust professional development curriculum with folks who are barriers to employment, right? And we help them get jobs, we help them develop skills related to agriculture, related to warehousing, related to logistics, and all sorts of the management pieces that we work on at ASD. So a few months ago, an opportunity came up, and we had been talking with Sydney for an extended period of time, looking at the potential for recycling in Lee County. We're committed to sustainable development in our region, and the lack of recycling opportunity in Southwest Virginia is a significant issue. You know, when you look around at everything from the littering problem to landfills filling up to the really high expense that folks pay for waste reduction in this area, it's a significant problem. So in our address of this, we're looking at ways to incorporate that with ASD's larger mission. And through some conversations with Sydney and other folks, we discovered there were a couple of opportunities where we could combine our aspects of workforce development, which addresses the issues of concern that folks have regarding barriers to employment. And when I say that, I mean our two significant things are people in substance use recovery and folks who are experiencing re-entry from the criminal justice system. We support other groups as well. Veteran employment is a significant number. And a variety of folks who are just struggling to get back into the workforce. So looking at this project, what this presentation is largely about is our most recent grant application that we've done in partnership with Lee County and the Upper Tennessee River Roundtable to talk about starting a cohort here in Jonesville in Lee County in partnership with the county that would provide paid on-the-job training for folks who are looking to transition back into the workforce. So some cornerstone highlights of this. We don't know the outcome of it yet, but I wanted to come and talk to y'all today about the potential for what this will look like, and we'll know more in a couple of months at the latest, which is really exciting for us. But the total budget allocated for the project that we've requested is $1.6 million, and that would cover the full cost of the cohort. That includes salary, that includes expense, that includes support for the county as well. Since the county has leveraged the space here in Jonesville for us to be able to use, and the plastics baler already owned by the county, that money, a lot of that money would go dedicated to fixing anything that the space might need, covering cost of utilization of the space, doing any kind of improvement or maintenance, as well as covering staff time for folks supporting the project here in the county. It would also cover the full cost of all the trainees coming through the program. And on a 3-year grant cycle, we're looking at free trainees every 6 months, as well as a full-time cohort supervisor and a driver. So it would be a really great opportunity for some job creation here in the county, as well as focusing on that plastics recycling piece. So we have reached out already to some local schools here in Lee County and others as well to be able to partner to collect their plastic. So be doing post-consumer plastic collection, as well as a lot of our farmers, because what a lot of folks don't know is it takes a lot of plastic to farm. Agricultural drip tape is one of the most significant waste products that comes out of the agriculture stream. So we would be able actually to recycle and sell that We've entered into a sale partnership with Eastman in Kingsport, Tennessee, where we already manage a lot of trucking routes and navigation systems to get things there and back in order to be able to generate revenue to support the program. So this initial program, if we're funded, would be 3 years long, right? So we'd be able to cycle through that time 5 cohorts of trainees and establish all the things we talked about, work on market development and other things, with the goal of it eventually being self-sustaining. So that's our goal. For us, it's very exciting. There's some other things outlined there that's a little more informative on the proposal, but I'm happy to share any more specific budget information you all are interested in. I'm happy to come back and talk, and I will definitely keep you all updated as we go, as we have more information. But is there any questions or thoughts or things folks would like to know?
What types of plastic?
Number 1 and number 2, post-consumer waste and pre-consumer. So we can take everything from water bottles to detergent bottles, but we can also take plastic from industry or construction. And as Eastman expands, so they can only take 1 and 2s, as they expand to take all 7, we can too.
Where you have these collection, to collect this at, where will they be stationed at, or in the county?
Yeah, so our goal is to have one at every school system, and then to work with the county to partner to find some county drop-off locations where folks can bring their stuff, or we'll bring it back to that building for sorting, so that folks will know. And then we'll also have them throughout our network in Southwest Virginia, so we can backhaul plastic so we can deliver produce on the front end and backhaul plastic here, bail it and sell it from this location. Other thoughts? I'm super excited about it, so I love to talk about it. So.
Sounds good.
So you're looking to pick the plastic up, you don't need the county to collect the plastic for you?
We can do a combination of both. I think at the start, before we get the truck, we would probably work with the county to get delivery if possible. But once we have our own truck, which we put in for this application, we should be able to collect it.
Do you have a time frame on when you think you'll have an answer about whether or not you receive the money?
Oh, we should know by May.
Okay.
Yeah, with the start date of this fall.
You would expect to receive money enough to get a truck in May?
Well, we would receive notice in May, and then we'd be able to start the program for funding on October 1st of this year.
Okay.
Yeah, and then it would start 3 years from there. We have a 6-month delay put in because of the equipment shortages and supply chain issues we're having. So we don't have a cohort for those first 6 months while we're getting all of that set up here in the county.
Okay. What would you be doing to the building up there, the ag buildings, I think where we met, talked about, but what would you be doing with the money you received to that building?
Really, whatever you all think is needed in combination with whatever we would need to do it, the plastics recycling on this scale. So we would probably do some updates to the doors and do cleaning and then maybe update the bathrooms so that it's a usable space for our trainees who are part of the program. But other than that, we would talk with you all and see what you really want done with the space so that it's a usable space for the county for the duration of the program and beyond it if the program expands, for example, and moves.
Is the back of that building, that classroom space sufficient for your training?
It's perfect, yeah. That's another great benefit is our trainees spend Wednesdays doing professional development. So they work job applications, resume development. They get 4 different certifications and professional standards, and that would be a great space for them to work.
And the person that you're talking about hiring, would they just be dedicated to Lee County?
Yes. Yeah. And all of our folks, we would do hiring in-house in Lee County. So we would try to work our best with the works program that exists here in Lee County to see who might need employment or might be ready for their next stage in transition back to work. And those are great folks who could be a good fit for the program.
Sounds good. Anybody else have anything? Thank you, Hannah.
Awesome. Thank you all for listening.
Sounds good. Next thing is finance. This is appropriation resolution, fiscal year ending June 30th, 2023. And I'll open the floor for a motion.
Make a motion to approve resolution 23-002.
Have a motion, do I hear a second?
Second.
Have a motion and a second, any discussion? If none, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Old business, county code recodification. Mr. Poe.
I think Ms. Muncy has just about completed review on it. I haven't made that much progress on it, but I think if we can get together between now and next month's meeting, we'll probably resolve any issues that are there and make a recommendation to the board.
Okay, next is fire alarms.
I haven't had a chance to address that yet. As I said previously, that'll have to be something that coordinated on a Saturday here in the building and with the fire department monitoring through dispatch as well.
All right. Next on the agenda is new business, board appointments. First one is building code appeals.
Mr. Chairman, I reappoint Douglas Brown to that position.
I'll second that. Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Next one is Rob Hines. I'll get you.
Mr. Chairman, I'd make a motion to reappoint Robert Hines.
Have a motion. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Next one, Wayne Bond. And I make a motion to reappoint Wayne.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next, Greg Rasnick.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to appoint Miller Junior Calvin in Greg Rasnick's position.
Have a motion, do I hear a second?
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next one is Jerry Gordon's tabled it.
Yeah, I'd make a motion to table that again.
I'll second that. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Next is Planning Commission. I have an appointment that I'm gonna have to table again, because they haven't got back to me. And
Second.
have a motion and a second.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next one is, I think that's yours, Mr. Smith.
Yeah, Rick Ellis. Mr. Chairman, I reappoint Rick Ellis to the planning commission.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Next is Black Diamond Resource. This appointment is for an alternate on that board. I think, is that yours, Mr. Taylor?
I appointed one from District 2, and we had tabled this one.
Oh, this is not District 2.
This is countywide. There's only one appointment and one alternate countywide.
Okay. So we've got the board appointment, but not the alternate. Is that right?
Correct.
Anybody have anybody in mind for that? Let's give you something to think about, and I'll make a motion to table it till
Second.
April. Motion in a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Next is Social Services. Summer Hines.
Make a motion to reappoint Summer Hines.
Have a motion, do I hear a second?
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Next is,
I'll make a motion to reappoint Michelle Warren.
have a motion, do I hear a second?
She does a great job, but I don't think, am I correct on that? You can only serve 2 terms back to back, then you have to come on.
If it's a full term, if she served 2 full terms.
She thinks that she has to come off.
If she served 2 full terms, then yes, she would not be eligible for reappointment.
Well, you can find that out, can't you?
Yes, we can check on that.
Motion to table.
Table.
Motion and a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Next is the DDA budget disbursement request.
Mr. Chairman, there's another appointment, Dryden Water
I'm sorry.
Authority.
I didn't see that on my paper here. There's one opening there, right, Mr. Jesse?
Yes, sir.
You got somebody to appoint.
I'd like to reappoint Roger Gates to the Dryden Water Authority.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Mr. Chairman, I'm not sure, I think Mr. Jesse may have an appointment for Tourism Committee.
Yes.
If he wants to address that now, under board
Yeah,
appointments.
that's not on here.
Mr. Chairman, for the Tourism Committee, I'd like to make a motion for Bernadine Huff.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Next is the EDA budget disbursement request. Would you like to address that, Mr. Coach?
It's a request from the Executive Director on the EDA, Mr. Johnson, that the balance of the allocation to the EDA for this year be released. They've drawn down $17,000. He did not provide any specific expenses on this, or what it'll be used to pay for, so I don't have any detail on that.
You know, I'd like to see a financial statement from the EDA so we know what they're spending money on.
All right, I can request additional information for next month.
Table it. Motion to table.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Next is Blackwater Convenience Center Operation Agreement.
Sure, and that contract agreement for operation and maintenance of that site expires at the end of this month. It contains a provision for 2 additional 1-year terms on mutual agreement of both parties. Contractor has indicated that he wishes to renew the agreement for an additional year with no changes. Current cost of that agreement is $900 per month, which is considerably less than what it would cost to pay an operator to be there.
Make a motion to approve that.
I have a motion. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? If not, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Next is employee health insurance.
We've received a renewal notice on our health insurance from the local choice. The rates effective on July 1, 2023 will be 8.9% higher than the current cost. The county currently provides Key Advantage 250 as the base policy, and the Key Advantage Expanded, which is a higher level of coverage, as an alternate for employees that choose to upgrade. County pays 85% for single coverage and 75% for dual and family coverage for the Key Advantage 250 plan. Any employee opting for the Key Advantage expanded plan has to pay for the additional cost over and above what the Key Advantage 250 is. I've attached a sheet there showing what the monthly premium cost for each plan is for each employee at the current time, or what the proposed rates would be July 1, 2023 under both plans, either the Key Advantage 250 or the Key Advantage Expanded. And both of those come with the options of carrying comprehensive dental coverage or preventative dental coverage only. So we're required to notify local choice by April 1st of our intention to renew.
I'll entertain a motion to renew our health coverage.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, signify. Any discussion about the health coverage? Any questions? If not, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Next is possible rural addition project.
Mr. Chairman, board members, Virginia Department of Transportation has recently been working with the owners of Whistle Pig Country Store regarding an entrance to their proposed development. During that discussion, VDOT has indicated a preference for using an existing road entrance there to Cedar Valley Road, since this entrance already intersects with US Highway 58, and there's always issues with VDOT in having two intersections close to one another. So they would prefer that that location be used. There's already a crossover at that location as well, so that's a plus. For several years, the residents of Cedar Valley Road have petitioned the Board of Supervisors for improvements to their road. It is a gravel-only road. The road serves about 20 households. It's approximately 1.7 miles in full length. VDOT is suggesting at this point that the county consider using a portion of its rural addition funds to improve the first 500 feet or so of Cedar Valley Road, which would provide a better entrance scenario for the Whistle Pig location, and it would start improvements on Cedar Valley Road as well. VDOT staff has provided an estimated cost of $65,000 to complete that first 500 feet of the project, and the owners of Whistle Pig and the surrounding property are willing to provide the necessary right-of-way at no cost. VDOT had also indicated that the county currently has access to rural addition funds in the approximate amount of the cost. I look back on the 6-year plan. If my numbers are correct, we currently have about $46,000 available in rural addition funds. As of July 1, which starts a new fiscal year, there'd be another $32,000 added to that, which would give us a total of $78,000, which would cover the estimated cost of the project. This 500-foot portion of Cedar Valley Road would provide a paved roadway for 6 of the 20 households served by that road, and it would be a start on possibly doing additional projects down there in the future to extend that on in. Of course, the decision on the use of rural addition funds is the Board of Supervisors, and any action to proceed with the project is up to the board. I don't have a formal resolution for that because there's additional information that has to be prepared for a formal adoption, but I did want to present it to see if the board would want to consider moving forward with this.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make that motion to move forward with it.
I have a motion. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
It may require a formal resolution at a later date, but I'll get back with VDOT on it.
Right. Next is the school capital reserve fund transfer request.
At your November 15th regular meeting, the board approved reappropriation of unspent school board state funds from the prior fiscal year. At that time, the board also advised of the surplus in or unspent amount of local provided funds for the last fiscal year, and requested that 2/3 of that amount be placed into the school board or the school capital reserve fund. At that time, the reappropriation was approved, but action on the transfer to the capital reserve fund was tabled. I've recently been requested to determine whether the board intends to act on this matter or not. I've provided a copy of the school board's original letter of request, and the specific request before you tonight is in the very last paragraph, where they advise that the amount of the required local effort that was unspent was $233,665. They reference the resolution adopting and establishing the capital reserve fund, wherein 2/3 of any saved local funds are deposited into that, and 1/3 reverts back to the county. In this case, it would be $156,555 transferred to the capital reserve fund, and $77,000 remaining in the county's coffers.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to approve the request.
I have a motion to approve. Do I hear a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? If none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Next thing is Thomas Walker Pool and Transfer Station Gate cameras.
In the past few months, the board's been discussing surveillance cameras at both of the locations mentioned here, the pool and the dumpster site over at the transfer station gate. And in both instances, it was recommended that we try to obtain an internet feed from adjacent school properties. A school system IT employee has contacted county staff about this matter to determine what's needed and what the possible costs would be. Both sites have been proposed to have cameras with recorders, remote access features so that you could view them without being on site, and possibly cloud storage of video, especially at the pool. Wireless feed of the internet signal was discussed. Whether it will provide what's needed to capture the signal, Mr. Collinsworth has talked with school personnel on this. At the transfer station gate, the feed would be coming from the bus shop. Now, I know that previously we'd had a break-in at the transfer station a few years ago, and we couldn't get any. We had surveillance camera footage that aided in the process of recovering the stolen material. The bus shop cameras at that time were down and had been for several months. So at Thomas Walker Pool, the closest feed of actual fiber is up at the press box at the football field. And to do school IT guy was not confident that they could shoot a wireless signal down there because of all the trees in between the two locations. The other thing that's a little bit concerning, I think, to us on this side is that with the school system, as far as their internet service and their IT priorities, the schools are priority. Athletic facilities, bus shop, other locations are not their highest priority. So if they lose service at one of those two locations at a time when, if SOLs are approaching or in process, or if they just have issues at other schools, it's not going to be a priority for them to restore service, and we're going to lose service at those two locations. I think we would need cameras at both locations to do what we're trying to do, but I think we'd probably be better served to have our own internet feed to both locations. I think it'd be more reliable in the long run. Even the wireless feed, depending on exactly how the antennas were mounted at the gate, traffic through there even could become a disturbance on signals. So, again, I think it's worthwhile to look at cameras at both locations, but I think we probably need just to go ahead and get our own internet service.
Everybody in agreement on that? We'll need a motion.
I'd like to have a motion on it, because, I mean, it's just been discussion up to this point, and there's been no solid motion saying, go ahead and move forward.
I'll entertain for a motion.
I'll make that motion, Mr. Chairman.
I have a
Second.
motion and a second. Any discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed?
Mr. Poe, do you need a motion regarding purchasing the cameras too, or is that?
I'll take that as all inclusive to cover cameras and getting the internet.
I think, I talked to Mr. Fortner about it. He said the ones at Flatwoods are good. I think he said 3 more of those to go with the transfer station.
Okay. Next is reports and recommendations of the county attorney.
I don't have anything to report.
Next is reports and recommendations of the county administrator.
Just 2 or 3 things, minor, nothing major. One, I wanted to update you. Our tipping fee cost at the landfill at Bluntville has increased 50 cents a ton. This is due, and it's a provision within our contract. The host county, Sullivan County, has a host county fee that they're allowed to charge, and they've gone up in that fee 50 cents a ton, so they're simply passing that fee along to the customers. So just make you aware that our cost there now has increased from $30 a ton to $30.50 per ton. Also, the bids for vegetation spraying at the airport were due at 2 o'clock today. We got no responses, no bids submitted. What I would recommend doing is putting it back out. I'd included a wider area there to get rid of some of the other growth outside the fence. I only had one that actually contacted us and came on site to look. They are strictly ground application. They use backpack tanks and spray it by hand. Their limit is about 10 to 12 feet. And when you get beyond the area that was cleared 2 years ago, you've got some 40, 50 foot high trees. So he said in most cases where the trees are above spraying height for them, they notch them around the base and treat them. But he said that results in the tree dying and then potentially falling. If they fall in areas that cause damage or things of that nature. What I would suggest doing at this point is to scale the project back. We had advertised for 2 alternates. One had about 150 acres, one had 200 acres. I would drop it back to basically about the same area that we cleared 2 years ago. The requirement on that was it had to be cut to within 12 inches of ground height. Most of the debris is still laying there and suppressing growth. But growth is coming back up through it in some of the areas as well. So I think if we just sprayed that, kept it contained to the perimeter of the fence, or at least the fence area where it needs to be cleared, and just that we had a buffer zone about 8 or 10 feet beyond the fence, and include that in there, we might get a better response. The one that I did meet with down there, they indicated, he told me what their limitations were, and he'd have to get approval. And I said, well, submit what you can do, and we'll look at, whether to scale it back and do something else. But we got nothing today, so I would recommend that it be re-advertised at a smaller scale. I think we're probably looking at no more, it'll be less than 100 acres. What we physically had cleared down there the last time was roughly about 76 acres. So I think with a few other small areas that I think we should include inside the fence, but we didn't include the last time, it should bring it down to no more probably than 80 or 85 acres.
Was this a local person that?
No.
Shouldn't we try to reach out to somebody that can do it locally?
It was advertised locally as well as regionally.
maybe they missed advertisement and,
Well, if we put it back out to bid, I mean, you know, we can try to push it out there, or maybe keep it out there a little bit longer.
I wouldn't mind to try to, you know, contact somebody locally that would get interested.
That's fine. But if there's no objections, I'll go ahead and prepare a new bid. It'll take a week or so to get it ready, but we'll get that out. Been a little bit of discussion. I think this has come up maybe during budget time in the past from the Solid Waste Department about the potential to either to restructure or rename the department at least. I think they're having to field questions when they're out at different locations doing things other than solid waste pickup or solid waste collection. And people inquiring, well, why are you all doing this? You're solid waste people. What are you doing this project for? What are you doing that project for? So I don't know whether it's time, typically sanitation or solid waste is included within a public works department. It's just that the county previously didn't do much in the way of public works, but we've gotten into that a little bit more in the last 10, 12 years, doing more and more projects that are outside the scope of solid waste. So just something to consider. Nothing, no formal request for action tonight, but something to think about as to whether just to rename the department as Public Works Department, and sanitation or solid waste would fall within that. Now, I do have one item under personnel that I would request closed session.
Okay. That all?
That's it.
Reports and recommendations of the board. Mr. Smith,
I don't have anything.
Mr. Cobb.
I was wondering if Mr. Poe might have a recommendation on how we should go about studying the issue of rescue squads and what to do about that situation. Should we form a committee? Should we talk to the chief and the captain, somebody present it there? How should we go about tackling that?
Give me a few days to think about that. I think there's merit to all of those, but some of it may need to be done in steps and involvement by different groups at different times.
There seems to be several conversations going on about it, but I'm not sure that anybody's really talking to each other. I was kind of leaning towards them talking about it, maybe chiefs and captains, or I don't know how to approach it. You might have some insight on
No, I don't. Unfortunately, it's a kind of a delicate subject. Because you got different departments want to do different things. You know, it's something that definitely needs to be ironed out, though.
it. Where are we on the MDOs?
2 of them have been ordered. We need a 3rd location. And we've got the price on the 2 that are ordered locked down at the $40,000 mark. Now, since there's a delay in getting the 3rd location, I'm not sure, because they may actually go with a different product. The price went up anyway, but what he said was on those 2, at least, they beat the cost on the increase. But whether they will on the 3rd or not, because they couldn't place the order because they didn't have a location.
Where the other 2 go?
One's going at Robbins Chapel, one's going at Stone Creek.
Okay. Well, I know we discussed about putting one in Stickleyville. I think that'd be the only logical place to put it.
Or up to around St. Charles. They still yet don't have internet or up there at all.
Where does the internet go to the school?
Yep. Stop at the school until they get an agreement with ODP, or Kentucky Utility. But right now they have nothing.
Well, it should be as far as the cleaner. That's not much further than the school, but they should be serviced all the way to the clinic. Because on a rural development grant several years ago, they put it to service to a house across the creek that the clinic owns on the other side of the creek there, across from the clinic building. So it should be at least to that extent, it should be available.
It may be.
And that was,
But on,
that would have been through Point, at that.
I know another MBO up there, right there around, somewhere right there around Kimmergem area right there, would probably cover all those people back down to that other MBO there in St. Charles and possibly on beyond up toward, Monarch.
Well, if you put it there at Kimmergem, it's not gonna push into Monarch probably, because you're going up in elevation and around some bluffs there. From what I experienced with the one at Blackwater, if you can lock the signal in a clear location further than a quarter mile away, up to half a mile or maybe a little bit more away, you can probably hold it. But if you're anywhere in between there you've got a little holler of any kind or any kind of obstacle, terrain obstacle, you can't pick the signal up there to initiate a call. I was able to hold the call through those areas once I got the signal, but I couldn't initiate one.
Well, in that case up there though, I think it would probably tie into that other one. You got a lot of houses in between Kimmergem and.
Yeah, I think you could probably put one up there and cover from the mouth of Kimmergem back to wherever the one in St. Charles drops out now. I think you probably.
But that's just
Pretty much cover that area.
Well, the good thing about that is St. Charles has no option for cell phone service. If you're in Stickleville, you can get Verizon.
Yeah, you do have Verizon coverage in Stickleville, you don't have AT&T coverage.
Is that it on that?
I guess, I mean, unless you all want to act on
Go either way.
I mean, I think we need to give them a proposed location or two if we want to, well, we did have some coverage maps on the Stickleville area. And if it's located right, I think you probably get a little bit better coverage than what they showed on those maps. I think you're seeing that on some of the others where they are in operation, you're getting a little bit better coverage than what their maps even show, which is sometimes unusual. But if we wanted to, we could pull the Stickleville ones back up again and compare them and give them a proposed location, up in that area and see what we can come up with. We'd have to have somewhere to house it. So.
Could you look for next time at locations for both areas? The only thing I had other than that was the county land giveaway, or people want to give land to the county. We'll give them that.
I provided you all with information, and I just need to hear back on which ones, or if any, or all that you want to proceed on. I've actually had a call, I think after the board packet went out last week, on another potential piece of property in the Monarch area of St. Charles. This is this mountainside property there, but it's a fairly decent acreage. Most of those other parcels that I provided to you were very small parcels. This one's probably 25 or 30 acres, maybe.
As I recall, we left it with some title work and looking into whether or not there was any environmental issues with them.
Don't recall that. I know I provided you all with the various locations.
I remember there was discussion about it. Nobody had.
I thought we talked some about in closed session, we left it with doing some title work to see. I think we were concerned that if it was tied up in a bunch of air.
We did have a couple that potentially had multiple errors, and we would need to confirm that. I do recall that now.
Can you and Ms. Muncy get together and give us an answer on that?
We can.
That's all I did.
Mr. Jesse?
I don't have anything.
You, Mr. Jesse?
No, sir.
Couple of updates I need, Dane. Did they ever get that project, social service building completed?
The AC, yeah, that's done, that's been done for a while now.
Okay.
One other thing I'll mention, we do have the deed now on the property at Jasper, so we will be, that occurred last Friday. We will be proceeding with getting an entrance permit application ready to submit to VDOT. And once that's approved, we should be able to start, as they have time, on preparing that site.
Okay. The next two things are parking lots, one back here and one across the road. You got,
We've got a signed contract on this across the street from us. Don't have a deed yet, but we do have a signed contract, so we're just awaiting the deed on that.
okay, what about,
The one back here, we had a meeting last week. They hope to be started by mid-April on that.
okay,
And indicated, at least at this point, they think they can come in and start work on this western portion without stopping parking on the eastern side where the old jail pad was, and do at least a lot of the work there before they have to move the vehicles out on the street.
right. That's all I have. You say you need to go into closed session on personnel.
Personnel and legal counsel.
I'll make a motion to go in closed session pursuant to 2.2-37, sub A 1 personnel, 3 acquisition and disposition of property, 8 legal counsel, and 29 contracts.
I have a motion, do I hear a second?
Second.
Got a motion and a second, any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed?